Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, now I will speak about the small brief introduction to all the newly listed POPs. So I'm just quickly moving to the slides because we have like around 30 listed POPs, and we have like Annex A, Annex B, and Annex C. And whatever chemicals belongs to the Annex A, we should eliminate the production and use. And from the Annex B, we should restrict. And the Annex C are the unintentional release. Like we don't know means like in some maybe it is producing unintentionally through the production of some other compounds. So there are 26 chemicals belongs to the Annex A, and 2 chemicals belongs to Annex B, and 7 chemicals belong to the Annex C. Now first I will talk about the dirty dozen, like the initial 12 POPs under the Stockholm Convention. And these have categorized into 3 parts, like one is pesticide, the other one is industrial chemical, and the last one is byproducts. Then in the Annex A, we have pesticides like aldrin, chlordane, like this one I have notated in the green color. And in the industrial chemical section also we have 9 compounds, and in the for the both pesticide and industrial chemical section we have 2 compounds, that is hexachlorobenzene and pentachlorobenzene. Now I will talk about the Annex B. We have DDT, perfluorooctane sulfonic acid, its salts, and perfluorooctane sulfonyl fluoride. Now we have Annex C. We have hexachlorobenzene, hexachlorobutadiene, pentachlorobenzene, PCBs, PCBD, PCDF, and PCNs. Now I will speak about the old POPs, that is starting with the aldrin. It is belongs to the Annex A, and this is the pesticide applied to soil to kill termites, grasshoppers, corn root worms, etc. And humans are mostly exposed to this aldrin through dairy products and animal meats. And the studies from India shown that daily intake of dieldrin is about 19 micrograms per person. And now the second one is the chlordane. This is also belongs to Annex A, and it is used extensively to control the termites and as a broad spectrum insecticide on a range of agricultural crops. And the chlordane remains in the soil for a long time, and it has an half-life of 1 year. And chlordane may affect the human immune system, and it is classified as a possible human carcinogen as well. And through the air, the main exposure through the air. And chlordane has been detected in the indoor air residents in the United States and Japan as well. And now the DDT, diphenyl trichloroethane. This is we can say that it is in the Annex B, and it is acceptable for some disease vector control like malaria, and its widespread use have meant that DDT residue can be found everywhere. That is like even we can find the trace amount of the DDT even in the Arctic session. And the short-term acute effects of DDT on humans are limited. But of course, the long-term exposure have been associated with the chronic health effect. Now the dieldrin, this is also belongs to Annex A. This is actually principally used to control the same purpose like termites and textile pests. And dieldrin has also been used to control insect-borne disease and insects living in agricultural soil, etc. And its half-life is approximately like 5 years. And dieldrin residues have been found in air, water, soil, fish, birds, mammals, including humans. And the food is the major source of exposure. And the endrin. This is also belongs to Annex A. This insecticide is sprayed on the leaves of crops such as cotton grains, and animals can metabolize endrin, so it does not accumulate in their fatty tissue to the extent that structurally similar to chemical 2. And it has a long half-life, it has up to 12 years of half-life. And the primary route of exposure for the general human population is through food. Now heptachlor, this is also belongs to Annex A, and this is also used to kill soil insects and termites. And heptachlor is classified as a possible human carcinogen, and food is the major source of exposure for humans, and residues have been detected in the blood of cattle from the US and from the Australia. Now hexachlorobenzene. These chemicals belongs to both Annex A and Annex C. Actually, this HCB kills fungi that affect food crops. It was widely used to control wheat burnt, and it is also a byproduct of the manufacture of certain industrial chemical and exists as an impurity in several pesticide formulations, and it has been found in food of all types, and a study of Spanish meat found in HCB present in all samples. Now Murex, this is insecticide is used mainly to combat fire ants, and it has been used against other type of ants and termites. It has also been used as a fire retardant in plastics, rubber, and electrical goods. Direct exposure to the murex does not appear to cause injury to human, but studies on laboratory animals have caused it to classify it as a possible human carcinogen, and it has an half-life period of up to 10 years. Now the toxaphene. Toxaphene was the most widely used pesticide in the US in 1975. And up to 50% of toxaphene release can persistent in the soil up to 12 years. And the most likely source of toxaphene exposure is through the food. And this insecticide is used on cotton, cereal grain, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. It has also been used to control ticks and mites in livestock. Now PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, this is listed under Annex A with specific exemption and under Annex C as well. These compounds are used in industry as heat exchange fluids, in electric transformers and capacitors, and as an additive in paint, carbon copy paper, and plastics. Large number of pupils have been exposed to the PCB through food contamination. Of the 209 different types of PCBs, 13 exhibit like dioxin-like toxicity. The persistent in the environment correspond to the how much like degree of chlorination. Means the level of chlorination will chlorine will depend upon its toxicity, and it has an half-life from 10 days to 1.5 years. Now PCDD, polychlorinated dibenzopyridioxine. This is an unintentional cause, and it belongs to Annex C. They are emitted mostly from the burning of hospital waste, municipal waste, and hazardous waste, and also from automobile emissions. There are 75 different dioxin, of which 7 are considered to be of concern. One type of dioxin was found to be present in the soil 10 to 12 years after the first exposure. And dioxin have been associated with a number of adverse effects in human, including immune and enzyme disorders, and they are classified as a possible human carcinogens. Now, polychlorinated dibenzofurane. These compounds are also produced unintentionally from many of the same process that produce dioxin, and also during the production of PCBs. They have been detected in emission from waste incinerators and automobiles. Furanes are structurally similar to dioxin and share many their toxic effect. And there are 135 different types, and their toxicity varies. Furans persist in the environment for long periods and are classified as possible human carcinogens. And the food is the major source of exposure to the human. And furans have also been detected in the breastfed infants also. Now I will talk about the new POPs under the Stockholm Convention. The first one is like alpha beta hexachlorocyclohexane. This is belongs to Annex A. Or the intentional use of alpha hexachlorohexane as an insecticide was phased out 10 years ago. These chemicals is still produced as unintentionally as a byproduct of linted. This is the gamma form of hexachlorocyclohexane. And for each ton of linter produced, around 6 to 10 tons of other isomers, including alpha, beta, are created. And alpha HCH is highly persistent in water in colder regions and may bioaccumulate and biomagnify in biota. This chemical is subject to low range transport, is classified as potentially carcinogenic to human. Today, alpha HCH is only produced unintentionally during the production of lignite. Release also occurs from stockpiles and contaminated sites. Chlordecone. Chlordecone is chemically related to Murex, a pesticide listed in the Annex A of the convention. And chlordecone is a synthetic chlorinated organic compound which was mainly used as an agricultural pesticide. And chlordecone is highly persistent in the environment, and it is classified as a possible human carcinogen, and it is very toxic to aquatic organisms. Many countries have already banned the sale and use of this chlordecone. Now, decabromo-diphenyl ethers. Actually, deca-BD is used as an additive in flame retardant and has a varieties of application, including plastic, polymers, composites, textiles, adhesives, sealants, etc. And deca-BD containing plastics are used in the housings of computers, TV, wires, and cables, etc. And commercially available deca-BD consumption peaked in the early 2000s, but deca-BD is still extensively used by worldwide. And adverse effects are reported for soil organisms, birds, fish, frog, etc. And there are some specific exemptions for the use because vehicle, aircraft, textiles, additive in plastic housing, etc. Polyurethane foam for building insulation. We can use this deca form of PPD still, and this is the some specific exemption. And dicophol, this is belongs to Annex A, and these have two types of isomers like PP and OP dicophol. And the technical product, that is 95% of pure, is a brown viscous oil and is composed of 80 to 85% of PP dicophol and 50 to 20% of OP dicophol. And dicophol is an organochlorine miticidal pesticide that has been used in agriculture to control mites on a variety of field crops, fruits, vegetables, ornamentals, cotton, tea. Similar to DDT, dicophol is a toxic concentrated formulation found in the environment and humans with a long persistent and bioaccumulative property. And a range of chemicals and non-chemical alternatives to dicophols are available now. Now, hexabromobiphenyl, this is also belongs to Annex A. And hexabromobiphenyl is an industrial chemical that has been used as the same flame retardant. According to available information, hexabromobiphenyl is no longer produced or used in the most countries. As hexabromobiphenyl is classified as a possible human carcinogen and has other chronic toxic effects too. Alternatives are available for all users of hexabromobiphenyl, so prohibiting its use and production is feasible and inexpensive. This chemical is already subjected to several national and international regulations restricting its use and the production. Now, hexabromocyclododecane, HBCDD. It is a flame retardant additive providing fire protection during the service life of vehicles, building, or as well as the protection while stored. The main use of HBCDD is globally are in expanded and extruded polystyrene foam insulation, while the use in textiles application and electric and electronic application. It is persistent in the environment and has a potential for long-range environmental transport. It is very toxic to aquatic organisms. Though information on human toxicity of HBCDD is to a great extent lacking, vulnerable groups could be at risk, particularly to the observed neuroendocrine and developmental toxicity of HBCD. And the production of HBCD has decreased in the last few years, and there are already available alternatives in the market as well. And there are some exemptions for the production and use for this HBCDD. Now, hexabromodiphenyl ether and heptabromodiphenyl ether. This is a commercial octabromodiphenyl ether. And these are commercial mixture of octa-BD is highly persistent and has high potential for bioaccumulation and food web biomagnification as well as for a long range transport. Alternatives are generally exist and there is no information about any current production. However, it is reported that many articles in use still contain these chemicals. Now hexachlorobutadiene. This is belongs to both Annex A and C. Most commonly used as a solvent for other chlorine containing compounds. Hexachlorobutadiene occurs as a byproduct during the chlorinolysis of butane derivatives in the production of both the carbon tetrachloride and tetrachloroethane. Systemic toxicity following exposure via oral, inhalation, and dermal routes. Effects may include fatty liver degeneration, epithelial necrotizing nephritis, CNS depression, and cyanosis, etc. And the US EPA has classified is a group C possible human carcinogen. And specific information on current intentional production and use and for the past 13 years is lacking. This indicates that substitution has taken place and an alternatives are available. Now lindane. Lindane is the common name of the gamma isomer we have already discussed, and lindane has been used as a broad spectrum insecticide for seed and soil treatment, foliar applications, tree and wood treatment, etc. There is an evidence for long-range transport and toxic effect in laboratory animals and aquatic organisms. Actually, alternatives for lindane are generally available, except for use of human health pharmaceutical to control head fleas and scabies. Actually, this is the specific exemption to use the lindane. And pentachlorobenzene. This is also belongs to both Annex A and Annex C. Pentachlorobenzene was used as the PCB products in dyestuff carriers as a fungicide, a flame retardant, and as a chemical intermediate. And pentachlorobiphenyl is also produced unintentionally during the combustion, thermal, and industrial process. It also present as impurities in products such as solvent or pesticide. It is moderately toxic to human and very toxic to aquatic organisms. The production of pentachlorobenzene ceased some decades ago, and the main producers countries as efficient and cost-effective alternatives are available. Now, pentachlorophenols and its salt and esters. This is also belongs to Annex A. PCP can be found in two forms. One is PCP itself, and the other one is like sodium salt of PCP. And PCP has been used as a herbicide, insecticide, fungicide, etc. Its use has been significantly declined due to the high toxicity of PCP and its low biodegradation. And a pupil may expose it to PCB in occupational setting through the inhalation of contaminated workplace, air, and dermal contacts. And short-term exposure to large amount of PCB can cause harmful effects on the liver, kidneys, blood, lungs, nervous system, etc. Both chemical and non-chemical alternative exist for PCP, and there are some specific exemptions for the production and use. Now, perfluorooctane sulfonic acid, its salt, and perfluorooctane sulfonyl fluoride. This is belongs to Annex B. And this is a fully fluorinated anion, which is commonly used as salt or incorporated into large polymers. And PFOS and its closely related compounds, which may contain PFOS impurity or substance that can result in PFOS. And it is produced both intentionally and unintended degradation product related to anthropogenic chemicals. The current intentional use of PFOS is widespread and includes electric and electronic parts, firefighting foams, photo imaging, hydraulic fluid, and textiles. It has a capacity to undergo long-range transport, and it also fulfills the toxicity criteria of the Stockholm Convention. And while alternative to the PFOS are available for some application, this is not always the case in developing countries where existing alternatives may need to be phased in. And there are some specific exemption for the production and use of these compounds as well. Now PCL, polychlorinated naphthalene, this is belongs to Annex A and C. And this is the effective insulating coating for electrical wires. And to date, intentional production of PCN is assumed to have ended. That is, there is no production of intentional production, but Unintentionally, these are produced during high temperature industrial process in the presence of chlorine. Acute exposure causes chloracne. Chronic exposure increases risk of liver disease. Current concern about PCN include their release as a byproduct of waste incineration. And there are some specific exemptions for the use. Now, short chain chlorinated paraffin. These short chain chlorinated paraffins are sufficiently persistent in air for a long range transport to occur and appear to be hydrolytically stable. And this can be used as a plasticized in rubber, paints, adhesive, and flame retardants. And short chain chlorinated paraffin is between C10 and C13. The production of this short chain chlorinated paraffin has decreased globally as jurisdiction to have establishment control measurement, and technically feasible alternatives are commercially available for all known users of SCPs. And the more discussion it will come by tomorrow's session by Dr. Roland Weber from the SCPs. And technical endosulfan and its related isomers both belongs to Annex A. This has two isomers, that is alpha and beta endosulfan, and both are biologically active. And endosulfan is an insecticide that has been used long back. And the largest use of endosulfan include Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, India, etc. And use of total about 15,000 tons of endosulfan annually. And exposure to endosulfan has been linked to congenital physical disorders, mental retardation, and death in farm workers. Chemical and non-chemical alternatives to endosulfan are available in many countries. However, in some countries, it may be difficult and or costly to replace endosulfan for specific crop pest complexes, and there are some specific exemptions for the production and uses. Now, tetrabromodiphenyl ether and pentabromodiphenyl ether. This belongs to Annex A, and it commonly used as a flame retardant in flexible polyurethane form. It was also used in printed circuit boards in Asia and in other applications. Commercial mixture of this pentabd is highly persistent in the environment, bioaccumulative, and has a high potential for long-range environmental transport. These chemicals have been detected in humans in all regions. There is evidence of its potential for toxic effect in wildlife, including mammals. Alternatives are available and used to replace the substance in many countries, although they might also have adverse effect on human health and the environment. Alternative might not be available for use in military aeroplanes. That is the that's why it has some specific exemption for the use. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Yasser.
Now we have like a group discussion. If we have, like, we can do the group discussion in the last session. So Muhammad Al-Kasbi.
Yes, sir.
So something more we need to discuss regarding, then you can have the floor is for the discussion.
Actually, only thank you very much for your presentation. It is very clear, mashallah, and you provided us for many information, which is, if you could please send us your presentation also for us.
Sure. We will share all the presentation to you.
Yeah. Plus, we would like also at the end of this workshop to write a clear methodology or procedure 1, 2, 3, 4, how we can gain the time, or we can, rather than we updating our NIB in 3 or 4 years, we can update it in 2 years with abbreviated procedures, which step we can start with, and which one we can postpone to gain the time. We need something also written from your side, and also we're going to write, and we already wrote regarding this, but we need also confirmation and from your experience in this kind of this point.
Yeah, sure. And I think for this point of view, I think the best expert to explain all these things, I think Dr. Roland Weber is here, and Dr. Hassan Al Shebiri also, they can help in this thing. I think because almost every Gulf countries, I think Dr. Roland Weber is guiding. So I think he's expert, and his knowledge we can use for this workshop and for the further as well.
If you can also, after workshop, we can contact you or Roland or Dr. Hassan a right time frame, and we can start with it immediately. Inventory and which step, even we are also started already analyzing and sampling, but also we would like from your side to write together a time frame as Hassan did, or any country did finish their updated their NIP.
ممكن دكتور ياسر أنا أرد على السؤال. دكتور محمد، بالنسبة للأبديتد نيب طبعا هناك إطار العمل فيه. أولا تحديد المواد اللي لم بحكمكم أنتم عملتوا النيب سابقا والآن أبديتد. في حالة الأبديتد تحددون المواد واللي هي بعد ال 12 مادة باقي المواد. بمجرد ما تحدد المواد مع كل مادة، إذا مادة صناعية وإذا مادة زراعية، إذا لها علاقة بالزراعة، إذا لها علاقة بالصناعة، إذا unintentional غير مقصودة، يتم تحديد هذه المواد، ومن ثم يتم تحديد الستيك هولدرز أصحاب المصلحة، ثم مخاطبتهم هل لديهم هذا المخزون من هذه المواد، أو الجهات الصناعية هل تعمل بهذه المواد، وهكذا. يعني في خطوات.
هذه خطوة موجودة يا دكتور، هذه خطوة موجودة، بس احنا يعني هذا في الجرد بس.
في هذا الجرد
عملنا.
فأما بالنسبة للتحاليل، دائما التحاليل يعني عملية الجرد تختلف عن عملية التحاليل. التحاليل فقط للاطمئنان. يعني أنت أيضا لحماية المجتمع في سلطنة عمان يكون عندك إجابة. احنا والله عملنا جرد ما في مواد، والدليل ان احنا جردنا مع الوزارات ورحنا عملنا تحاليل فرضا في الاماكن الزراعيه ما لقينا مواد مبيدات. عملنا تحاليل في الاماكن الصناعيه وما لقينا في الهواء مواد من الديكسون والفيورين. فهناك شقين. الشق الاول هذا الجرد اللي انت مطلوب منه، البروف هذا لك اولا لسلطنة عمان، لمجتمع سلطنة عمان، للدولة نفسها، أن تطمئن بأن إجراءاتكم سليمة وأن هذه التحاليل تساعدكم. معي دكتور محمد؟ أما عملية، ليش أنا أنصح دائما وأقول أن المستشار اللي عنده خبرة مثل رولند ولا شريد، هؤلاء طال عمرك دخلوا في عملية البروسس، بالأخص رولند يعني عارف المواد وين موجودة، عارف البوبس بالذات في اي مكان موجوده في الصناعات وين تكثر الصناعات. مثل الان البي بي دي على سبيل المثال يعني على طول تارجتد وذ الالكترونكس والسيارات، فقطاعات محدده تكون حكم انك تستهلك يعني كميه الاستهلاك بالنسبه للشخص الواحد من الالكترونكس لقوها عاليه جدا، لربما اعلى فاكتور موجود. فعلى سبيل المثال مثل هذا المستشارين يساعدونكم في تحديد الماده يعني. وايضا تجاربنا السابقه ممكن نقدمها لكم. بس الكويت تختلف عن سلطنة عمان، دولة صغيرة مقارنة مع سلطنة عمان دولة كبيرة. فايضا في التبادل المعلومات والتواصل يعني هذا المشروع ياخذ فترة فقط للمعلومة والبحث عنها ثم بعد الاستفسار عنها. انا اتمنى اكون جاوبت على السؤال يا دكتور محمد.
لا واضح دكتور، واضح. It's very clear. جزاك الله خير.
دكتور انا بس اسال دكتور رولاند من ايضا دكتور رولاند if you are hearing me دكتور رولاند
Yeah, I am hearing you, but you know, I don't understand Arabic.
Yeah, now I have a question regarding the when, like Sultanate Oman, they are looking to do the update. Did they need to do the chemical they covered at the beginning? Of course, they will start with the chemical which is not covered before. They need to go back with this chemical like the dirty dozen to inventory again, or no need for that for their updated NIB?
I know this depends on the quality of the first inventory, and you have seen with the PCBs that it's very important for Oman to do a real PCB inventory. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest parts, but they will not need to do the whole PCB inventory within the NIB development. So I would rather recommend, let's say, to aim, because now, let's say, Oman is also late in their NIB and does not have, let's say, a detailed action plan to give a certain time horizon, maybe a year or 1.5, and say, okay, within this 1 year or 1.5, we make a NIB update. And then within this 1.5 year, we see how much we can do, including also starting the PCB inventory. But then, let's say, the rest of the task of PCB inventory would be in the action plan. Yeah. You know, after the chemicals are listed, normally countries have 2 years to update the NIB. So therefore, I think it would be useful for Oman now really to think in the next 1.5 years to do the update, and also to have then a reasonable action plan for the activities. Yeah, so that would be my my proposal.
Thank you, it's clear. Thank you very much for your recommendation.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you.
Okay, and then I have one comment to Yasser. For the dioxins, you showed a half-life time of 10 to 12 years. This is very misleading, but it's not your fault. You should read my publications. I have assessed in Germany old chemical facilities from the 1820, 1840, which had very high dioxin levels. So the dioxin in the soils in these facilities are still the same than 200 years ago. So in soil, when you do not have it on the topsoil where you have sunlight, yeah, or something, the half-life of these POPs of dioxins and furans is much longer than 10 and 12 years. Otherwise, you know, things would not be a problem. Yeah, but it looks rather centuries. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Oh, sure. Thank you so much for the information.
I can send. I send you that. I send you our papers on these factories. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good.
أستأذنكم بس بالمداخلة على إيضاح بعض النقاط.
تفضل دكتور شريف. Go ahead شريف.
أيوة معاكم. بالنسبة للدكتور محمد الكسبي، أنت دلوقتي إن شاء الله مستمر معانا لليوم الثالث. النهاردة بس إحنا كنا بنعرفكم وبنديكم باك جراوند عن الموضوع as a total. لكن مع اليوم الثاني واليوم الثالث كل النقاط اللي انت عندك صورة غير مكتملة فيها هتكتمل. بالنسبة ان شاء الله لمحاضرة بكرة، احنا عندنا 3 هنتكلم عن اليو بوبس اللي هي الانتنشنال، ودي بتخضع للانكس تي اللي هي بتبقى باي برودكت مصحوبة بالعمليات صناعية حرارية، واحنا هنحددها يعني بكرة هنحددها ان شاء الله، وهتشوفوا الكويشنير ازاي بيتملي. ومن خلال الكويشنير، يعني الكويشنير دقيق جدا وما بيسيبش حاجة خالص، فانتوا هتعرفوا بالظبط ايه اللي مطلوب وازاي هتحسبوا الحكاية دي. النقطة دي هتتغطى بكرة. بالنسبة في عندنا بردك البي فوز اللي هي بتستخدم في الفاير فايتنج فوم، هنوضحها بردك. وعندنا مادة ثالثة اللي هي شورت تشين كلورينيتد بارافين. بس في رجاء بالنسبة لحضرتك لما بتسأل عدة أسئلة عن التيم، التايم فريم، ده كله بيدخل تحت الورك بلان. فرجاء لو امكن بكره ان شاء الله في محاضره اليو بوبس، علشان ده الايميشن مرتبط بالصناعات اكتر مع الويست، منها جزء من الميديكال ويست وجزء من اللي هي المينيسيبل ويست. فلو امكن ان يكون في بالنسبه عندكم في وزاره البيئه او الهيئه العامه للبيئه يكون في اشخاص ممثلين لبعض الادارات، زي مثلا انتوا عندكم لو في اداره مركزيه لتلوث الهواء، الاداره اللي تتبعها اللي هي انبعاثات المنشآت الصناعيه، هيكون وجوده مهم جدا علشان اليو بوبس. اداره التقييم البيئي يكون ممثل عنها، لان التقييم البيئي تقريبا بيكون مغطي في حاجه عندنا اسمها Air Pollution Control System، اللي هي كفاءة المداخن. الكنترول سيستم عندنا بيكون لأنه بيتقسم عندنا كاتيجوريز، وممكن التقييم البيئي يكون عنده بعض البيانات. أنا بقول كده علشان ده هيسهل الحصول على المعلومات. الأول بنبتدي من يعني الدايرة بتكبر كل شوية، فبداية الدايرة بتكون من جوه البيئة نفسها، بعد كده بتبتدي تكبر مع الجهات المشاركة، بنبتدي نستعين بيهم. بس في الأول بنشوف إحنا عندنا في البيئة إيه المتوفر، وده هيوفر معاك وقت كبير جدا. حضرتك بتسأل إحنا هنحتاج 2 ولا 3 سنين، ممكن تحتاج أقل من 2 سنين في حالة التعاون وفي حالة توفر المعلومات. انتوا دلوقتي أنا شايفة إن حضرتك عندك خبرة في إدارة المخلفات، فده بردك هيكون سبورتر ليك في البيانات. بالنسبة اليو بوبس بردك هتحتاج انتوا عندكم مثلا وزارة الصناعة او اسمها الهيئة العامة للصناعة، في إدارة هناك موجودة اسمها إدارة الرقابة البيئية. الشخص المختص المدير بتاع الرقابة البيئية ده هيساعدك جامد 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 في اليو بوبس، لسبب في حالة عدم توفر المعلومات لدى البيئة، إدارة الرقابة البيئية في الهيئة العامة للصناعة هي اللي هترتب لك، أنت من خلالها هترتب كل الميتينجز اللي هتكون مع ممثلين الصناعات. فرجاء لو أمكن إن هم يكونوا موجودين بكرة، لأن دي هتكون في معلومات مهمة جدا لازم يسمعوها. البيفوز أمرها سهل مش صعب قوي، الديتيلز فيها محدودة. يعني الشورت تشين عندنا برضك دي خاصة باللدائن، عندنا مركبات يعني مثلا البينتس، الدهانات بأنواعها دي برضك الصناعة وجودها هيكون مهم، لأن هي هتحدد هتقدر تعرف مين عندها قد إيه من الصناعات، في كام مصنع في البلد، علشان انتوا دلوقتي لما تيجوا تعملوا ديستريبيوشن للكويشنير هتبقوا عارفين انتوا هتتوجهوا لكام مصنع، وده برضك بيحدد التايم اللي انت هتستغرقه. ف الصناعة هتكون مهمة جدا مع الإدارات المختصة داخل البيئة. أرجو أن حضرتك تسجلها، اللي هي الإدارة المركزية لتلوث الهواء، اللي يتبعها اللي هي الإيميشن الخاص من المنشآت الصناعية، التقييم البيئي بالنسبة للصناعة، المدير إدارة الرقابة البيئية، وحضرتك كمان عندك باع في المخلفات، فده هيكون كويس جدا. لو أمكن إن يكون في حد مختص بالصناعات الخاصة بمواد البناء، يا ريت يكون موجود. مواد البناء بتشمل كل شيء تتخيله، يعني مثلا من أول الديكوريتيف كلها، الدهانات كلها، في عندنا البي في سي كلها اللي هي الأنابيب والتيوبس والشبابيك والأبواب والحاجات دي كلها. ف يعني ده ريكومنديشن مني ليكم علشان الشرح ما يكونش اكتر من كذا مره. يعني مثلا انتوا هتسمعوا مني، هتبقوا عايزين تنقلوا المعلومات للناس بعد كده، فوجودهم هيسهل وهيختصر الزمن وهيختصر المجهود. وان شاء الله اشوفكم على خير بكره، واي نقطه ان شاء الله مش واضحه النهارده هتكون واضحه بكره، وكل اسئلتكم هتتغطى ان شاء الله.
شكرا شيرين، واضح، جزاك الله خير.
شكرا.
Now I think Dr. Hassan, you can just do the closure of the day. You can just make a thankful to everybody.
شكرا الأخوة الأعزاء.
Sorry, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Hassan. I think I needed also to reply back to Muhammad, as I understood, though Roland had explained, but I kind of felt that he is not very clear on if how they prioritize on preparing the inventory or the plan for this updating NAP on different chemicals. As Roland also said that, whichever chemical is listed in the convention, after getting it listed, there is like some time to communicate to the, that has to, the decision has to be finalized. There is some administrative process that takes like 5-6 months. So if in May the chemical is listed in the convention, somewhere around November, December, it is then what you call the certified by UN, and then from that day, next 30 days, after the 30 days of this certification, the chemical enters into force. Meaning, in 2009 May, if it was listed, somewhere around 2009 December, it gets certified, and somewhere around February, March, this, in 2008, the counting starts. So 2 years from that time, the party will have the time available to update that NAP on that particular chemical. So this is how it goes. Now, from 2009 until now, there are 18 more chemicals. They are already past those 2 years. So when it, now it is up to you to prioritize. So you don't have to go and do the inventory of any NIP that was, any chemical that was entered into force in 2009, whereas you see the chemical that is entered into force in 2017 is very, very important. Then you can, prioritize your plan. You may say that, okay, we do plan for this chemical which was listed in the convention in 2017 or in 2015, as opposed to the chemical that was listed in 2009. So, this is up to you. It's your priority. And I'm sure the priority will depend on the inventory and on the impact on the people, the socioeconomic, all those considerations will be made to make this priority. But you are free to do the priority. And also, like Roland said, you can go visit your the inventory and everything, the implementation situation of those initial 12 POPs also. That's the idea of updating and reviewing. You review it, what is happening, and then based on your review, you update. So nobody stops you from going back to those initial 12 POPs. Actually, you should be reviewing and visiting. And also on the PCB part, it is there is a deadline. It is ticking. By 2025, it should be closed. Should be taken out from the service, and by 2028 they have to be completely disposed of. So you have to go and review your situation and make the plan. And maybe in many cases the PCB might be your #1 priority because of the requirement by the convention, also because of the situation in your country. So I think I clarified on this. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Hassan. I took it from you. Please, Hassan, now you can continue. If there are any follow-up questions, Muhammad can ask me or send email, or we can talk about it later. Thank you. Yes, Hassan.
Thank you
please.
very much, Soman. Yeah, and I think the picture will be, our image will be more clear at the end of this 3 days. And as we started already for inventory, small part by using electronic system here, export and import by customs. And we found some information as we also requested some information from the companies, but it will take time. But thank you very much for your explanation, Soman and Shireen and Hassan.
شكرا دكتور محمد كاسبي. Thanks Soman, thanks so much. طبعا احنا في النهاية نشكركم لوجودكم يا اخوان ومشاركتكم. الجميع بنقدم محاضرة وان شاء الله نلتقي ان شاء الله غدا على نفس الموعد الساعة 9. Thanks all our staff and all who given the presentation and who participated in this workshop.
Dr. Hassan, could you please ask them to open the video? We would like to take a photo for all of you for our newspaper.
Okay, can we do this because actually most of you, there is no, there could be, yes, thanks Soman. Who's ever he participated in our workshop could just
Dr.
open
Karim,
his camera. His camera.
Maybe you can put gallery.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Thanks so much.
See you, inshallah.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
See you by tomorrow.
Thank you for all. Thank you. Goodbye.